Phoenix lady here. This post says it's about how to set up Escape to New York City. It's apparently official. The Biden campaign has selected Kamala Harris as the VP candidate. In the description below, I include links to Timcast IRL, where the boys, Tim and Adam, with input from Lydia, their producer, go into considerable detail about the implications of the Kamala Harris pick. I've also included a second link to Tim Pool's post about BLM defending the Chicago looters. Finally, I've included a post by the Officer Tatum, where Brandon also lays out more implications of the Kamala Harris pick. Here's my take. In Finnish, as we learn on Timcast IRL, Kamala means horrible. Tim and Adam got quite a few laughs out of that. So did I. More to the point, they suggest that Biden-Harris is basically the Democrats throwing up their hands and admitting they can't win this year. Essentially, they're turning their attention to ruining the election for everyone so they can spend the next 4 years making life even more difficult for Trump so they can win in 2024. This year, to use a sports analogy, would be a rebuilding year. Nixon won his second election with a 49-state landslide because no one could stand the lefty loser McGovern. Then Reagan won his second election with a 49-state landslide because no one could stand the lefty loser Dukakis. So there's a good chance Trump will win his second election with at least a 49-state landslide because no one can stand lefty loser Biden. No matter how hard the Democrats try to cheat with mail-in voting, no photo ID, and no signature verification, which the Republicans in the Senate wouldn't allow to go through in the latest bill to provide economic assistance to those struggling due to the COVID epidemic, which is why we have the executive orders. A landslide of that magnitude will simply overwhelm them. Right now, Trump is continuing to trigger the BLM crybabies, screaming that looting is justly deserved reparations for the poor folks needing food to put on the table. The question I have for the BLM organizer in Chicago who said that is, who on earth is going to buy a pair of stolen Gucci shoes or a Vuitton handbag so a looter can buy bread for her kids? She sounds like she's channeling AOC. Either way, Trump is triggering these people to reveal exactly what they are and what they really want, to burn it all down. This is getting more and more attention among the middle-of-the-road liberals, much as Reagan did back in the day to scoop up a lot of Democrats who couldn't stomach the outright Marxist proposals put forth by Michael Dukakis back in the 1984 campaign. While Tim bemoans how few people seem to be paying attention as the mainstream media outright lies, and he's certainly right that we shouldn't get complacent about the possibility of a landslide, I think he's seriously underestimating the mood of the country. We probably will still have riots and other unrest, especially given that the Durham report, which Trump has probably already seen, will be out shortly. For Trump to state unequivocally that Obama and Biden are guilty of treason suggests there will be indictments laid down against them and others, including Susan Rice. If that happens, Trump will be in a much stronger position to act against the rioters and the blue city and state officials enabling them. How and when he will do this remains to be seen. But here's an idea about how he could do it. It sounds silly at first glance, but let it percolate for a bit. Then let me know in the comments if it still sounds silly. It's based on my earlier post about Portlandia. Only if Trump does it right, the crybabies will think he's handing them that much coveted second scoop of ice cream, the chance to do something never done successfully before, build a true Marxist utopia. First, Tim, in a different set of videos, talks about how Bill de Blasio in New York City sounds like he's planning to drive everyone of any means, especially those who own property, out of the city, particularly Manhattan. When property values fall through the floor, he'll buy up as much real estate as he can to turn into public housing. It's not clear whether he's planning to do this with his own money or what little tax income the city will have left. But for purposes of this crazy idea, it doesn't matter. Certainly, he seems determined to bankrupt Trump or the Trump children by severely devaluing Trump Tower and all other Trump properties in New York. Second, the Trump family should consider selling their properties in the city to the city after they've helped all their employees move not only out of the city but out of the state entirely, and they've stripped the properties of anything of value, except the beds and other furniture perhaps, as the poor homeless people de Blasio wants to stuff into the tower need something to sleep on. If they do this early enough, they should be able to avoid too big a loss, though it's clear they'll have to take one. Third, should Trump win by a landslide so the Democrats can't contest the legitimacy of his election, he should float a proposal that New York City be allowed to secede and create a true utopia, a city-state no longer part of the U.S. He should also encourage all the Antifa BLM types, along with the homeless in all the other blue cities and states, and even the mayors and governors of those cities and states, to move to New York City. Call it a Chaz/Cha zone, the size of Manhattan, with lots and lots of luxury hotels and apartment buildings and office buildings and so on. He would need to make it really attractive to all these people, while at the same time encouraging all the sensible people, relatively speaking, who haven't left to do so as quickly as possible, even to offering financial help to do so if necessary. Fourth, Trump would have to make sure all the gold held in the bank vaults is removed, and the sensible companies with offices in Manhattan relocate elsewhere. Fifth, once a large percentage of the crybaby mayors, governors, Antifa, BLM organizers, and homeless have moved into Manhattan, and the sensible residents and businesses have moved out, he should cut all the bridges, tunnels, and other points of entry, except maybe one, and turn off the power. No more trade, no utilities, and no flow of funds. What do you think will happen? As I said, it's a crazy idea, but if we could get all the crybabies and homeless by choice into one place, then wall it off, remove resupply and power and money, how long would the inmates be able to manage the asylum? Either way, the next 3 months should be very interesting in a Chinese curse sort of way. Phoenix Lady out.